Welcome back. We are live inside the digital media zone, and I now have the pleasure of standing next to the Deputy Prime Minister of Belgium. Thank you so much for being with us. Tell us, Belgium is known for being very innovative, and in your role, you're dealing with telecom and digital data. What does it mean to you to be here today?
Well, yeah, first of all, when I became Minister of Digital and of Development, I thought it was an accident because those two fields seemed like far away. But actually, it totally makes sense because there is a junction between those two topics, and especially related to data. We're in a new world now. We used to be happy in the development world when we had very basic data 5 years after the data was being collected. Now we can have totally new classes of data, conversational data, and so on, and we can have it right now. So the data revolution, especially in the development world, will finally bring us to a sphere where we will do interventions when we think there is a need, and we will be able to follow up on the results of what we're doing, which is something that we didn't really do well up to now.
And you're doing it so well with everything you have in place. How do you think all of that will apply to these SDGs?
I think it's crucial to the SDGs. The SDGs, for the first time, define that we're all in the same ship. We can solve only poverty, climate change, and so on if we do it all together, all the countries together, but also governments, private sector, and civil society. Now, we don't have to be naive and think that the private sector will solve everything. You do need a solid public sector to organize things, to make sure that there is a fiscal system that works, to make sure that there is a legal system that works, to have a stable economic environment. And this is what we should focus on, is create an environment where young people feel happy and confident to build on their own country and build on their country through civil society or through the private sector.
And how at this given point in time are you hoping that young people become more engaged? And what SDGs do you think young people will gravitate toward the most?
I think they are involved already. I think what we are talking about is already happening in a lot of places in the world. And this, I think, is a beautiful thing, is that up to now, globalization was not really globalization. It was really the Western world setting the direction and the rest of the world consuming it. This has changed. If you look at domains as mobile payments, distant healthcare, the edge of development is not in Europe, it's not in the US. The edge of development today is in Kenya, is in Bangladesh. This is where the real development is happening. So this is the idea of the really multipolar world where development is really taking place everywhere. I think it's happening now, and this is a good thing. I mean, this will force all of us to be on the top of our toes, but it's going to be a good thing.
And how do you think that people who are watching this at home and want to get involved with the SDGs, whether it's within your own community or around the globe, how do you think, given what you know, people can get involved starting today? Whether it's picking one goal, more than one goal, what's the first step to making a difference here?
I think the first step is to look at it, to understand what the SDGs is about, and it's not that difficult as it seems at first look. I mean, those 17 goals, I think they're quite tangible. Everyone can understand what it is.
It's a beautiful icon.
Beautiful icons indeed, and certain things. It depends on the country you live in. In a country as Belgium, for example, well, there's one specific element on lowering the number of people being victim in traffic accidents. This relates to us because we know that we have a problem there. Food security is not something which is an issue in Belgium, for example. So it's really something where you can make your own menu, and I'm sure that I cannot imagine that someone would not find something in there that relates to them. Second element, of course, is that we make it part of our living. We make it part of how government works. We make it part of how businesses work. We are now in the process of forming an alliance of Belgian companies who basically commit to the SDGs and say the SDGs will be a framework which we will use in our business. We will do it because we believe in it, but we will do it because we think it makes economical sense. It makes sense to use the circular economy. It makes sense to make sure that people have proper health care, and it makes sense to be active in the rest of the world, also in places where sometimes we think that it's hard to be active. But if you look in reality, it's actually much easier today to be active all over, even for SMEs. It used to be something for multinationals. Today, for an SME, it's actually quite easy to be active all over the world.
So spend some time on the website looking at the SDGs, learning what they entail, and get involved as soon as possible, right?
Yes, that's
Terrific.
it.
Thank you so much
My pleasure.
for joining.